the Bears banner. Man, Plank, what's going on, man?
What's going on, team? Wait, first of all, before anything else, happy anniversary, 40th anniversary for Final Conflict, Gangsta EB. Happy Founders Day for Omega Sci-Fi and all of our brothers.
Yes, sir. Happy Founders Day to the Qs, Omega Sci-Fi. And yeah, we on our 40th anniversary. Hold on 1 minute. What's that I got in my background right here? Oh, okay. I see what I got.
Okay, now let's get into the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers.
Man, this one hurts, team, man. You know, because we're not here for no moral victories, man.
You know what? At some point, you know, I end up just being numb to some of the things that happen. And, you know, as soon as you end up giving up a Hail Mary or a blocked field goal, I just put my head down and start laughing as opposed to being upset about it because, you know, I can't even believe that it can be this bad. No, you know, in this game, at the very least, Bernard, we saw Eberflus as a coach manage the first half correctly. So he ran down the score, made sure that we had the ability of getting a field goal attempt without allowing Green Bay to get the ball back in that second quarter before halftime. Then we came out in the third quarter, came out strong. The offense looked good, took the lead. From a coaching standpoint, at least some of the things that Eberflus has really been deficient in, he looked much better, and the team looked much better. They managed their timeouts better. They had more organizational awareness. The offensive coordinator called a really good job, a really good game. So I put all of those things together, and it still ends up equal to the loss. So that's a little bit sad. So, what do you got, team?
You know, other than the you know, I'm not pulling it out at the end, and I know watching Nick Plank, I think we both was talking about this offline. When he kicked it, I was just like, I was trying to figure out, did it fall short, right? Because I was like, man, it looks good. It looks like it cleared the bar. I didn't realize it was blocked, right? To the announcers, I was trying to figure out, did it actually like kind of fall short or fell right inside? But the Chicago Bears, I would say, besides the moral victory of improvement of the offense, Brown looked like he ran a real NFL offense.
He did.
Yeah, he made some of the adjustments. And to me, other than getting the ball out of Caleb's hand, he ran the ball 2 times in a row. He switched personnel on running the ball. He just didn't get a ball to Swift every play. Even on the goal line, when the Bears was on their own goal line a few weeks ago, they dropped back and shotgun on the first play and almost gave up a safety. In this instant, he brought in Johnson to actually give him room to throw the ball, which makes sense.
No, you know what? Brown looked really competent, and he changed the entire way that the Bears, what we're gonna view the entire Bears team. They looked a whole lot more competent. They looked like they were ready to scrap a little bit, and the coaches. In this case, the coaches put them in on the best path and the best opportunity to win the game. You know, we didn't get the win. You know, this is a team that had beat us 10 straight times. And even though we're playing at home, we took a little bit of that. We ended up just coming up short at the end. But I'll tell you what, people can say whatever they want to say about Caleb Williams. That young man showed me something, especially in that fourth quarter drive, to take back-to-back sacks and get into a 3rd and 19 on your area of the field, and then to come out with 3 really big-time throws to keep the chains moving, to get us a first down and put us in a position to get kick a field goal. Dude, you can't ask more of that than any quarterback, rookie or otherwise. And this is kind of all that you look for. Hey, thanks for the happy Founders Day. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Squirrel. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, thanks to both of y'all for wishing us happy Founders Day. Hey, I know Jay couldn't make it today. Guy can make it. But, you know, me and Plank out here, you know, we making it happen today. Probably get to some Founders Day activity later on. But you're right. I know right near the end of the game, as soon as Caleb took the 2 sacks, my brother called me. He's like, man, Caleb lost this game for him. I said, hold tight. Hold tight. hold tight. It ain't over yet. And so it was good to see the rookie do that to get them in that position because those actually sacks could break your confidence. And 3rd and 18 or 19, whatever it was, that's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the next play to, like you said, 2 back-to-back plays to Rome, and Rome came up big time by grabbing both of those throws.
He did.
I do think offensively, the Bears put their team in a position to win. It was still a few little things here and there that I wouldn't say was on the OC. It was more on the head coach, like as we dissect the game. The kind of indecisiveness, like right before halftime when you had the goal line play, like, hold on, are y'all about to let this time run out? Like, make a decision, like they almost put themselves in a position right before halftime where that time actually almost expired on them.
Well, you know what? I was thinking that as well because we've seen Eberflus do so many boneheaded plays. I'm jumping up and down. I'm sure all the Bears fans were like, hey, call a timeout, Cal, call a timeout. He actually ended up calling the timeout at the right time. So they had 10 seconds left. It was 3rd down. So they had another timeout left. So they had enough time in worst case scenario to run the ball, take a timeout, and then still try to come in for a kick. So believe it or not, there was no clock management problem in the second quarter, at the end of the second quarter with the Bears. He ran that down exactly like you expect, but we haven't seen it from Eberflus so much. That's probably why we thought he was going to, let time run out and all that other stuff. So it's a legitimate argument, but at the end of the day, he actually called it exactly like he was supposed to.
Yeah, I see one of the viewers out there, Leroy. Thanks for chiming in. I did think, Leroy, that they was going to at least run one more play just to run a little bit more clock. Wish they let the clock expire, but I thought you try, if you can, get your field goal kicker a little closer just so he doesn't have to drive the ball. But, I can't say if it was going to still be blocked or not. But I do think, like, right there, it became a moment of indecisiveness a little bit because it doesn't seem like the offense knew they was on that time run. It seemed like they was there kind of waiting on the play.
Right.
So, hold on, I got Guy. Hey, what's up, Guy?
Hey, what's up, man? Just on here for a second, man.
Okay. Hey, Jimmy, check your phone, Jimmy. I just sent you the link. Hey, go ahead, Guy.
Yeah, go ahead, guy, please.
It just they just got a field goal block. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are gonna, be calling for Eberflus's head. I'm one of them. I think he should be fired. I don't think he deserves to coach the Bears next year. However, in his coaching today, he made all the correct decisions. Believe it or not, he put the team in the best opportunity to win the game at the end of the game, and that's something he hasn't done for the 3 years that he's been here. It's hard for, as much as I don't necessarily like the job he's done as a head coach, it's hard to take his side on things. But today, every step that he made, I agree with. So he made all the right calls, and for you to make all the right calls and it still come out not in your favor, that's a tough pill to swallow, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watching them play today, like I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. The offense looked competent. They got the ball out of Caleb's hand. I mean, literally, you only had 1 sack until the end of the game. I do like I saw something earlier that I love. Caleb was about to can the play earlier in the game, and the center said, stopped him. He stopped him because he was about to can the play, and he was like, no, Caleb, we all right. That's what he said. Caleb, we all right. And I like that, right? Because what teams have been doing was showing them 6-man front, moving into a single high safety to get them to come out of run formation to check out and go into a pass. And on that play, when the center stopped them, they actually still ran the ball, which I think it started confusing Green Bay. But the thing we do got to clean up a little bit offensively, if we can keep this consistency going, we gotta Kenny Allen got to come up with those tough balls. Come on,
he does. He does.
You mean Butterfingers?
What you got, guy? I know you can't.
Butterfingers.
Butterfinger.
Hey, I tell you what else, Bernard. This is going to sound like sour grapes, but it needs to be said because I'm sure at some point the pundits are going to dissect this and they're going to mention it. On that field goal, that was actually a penalty against Green Bay because you can't come over the top of the center like they did. As a matter of fact, the Green Bay Packers lineman ended up using leverage to push his body up against the Bears center. We just got a penalty for that a couple of games ago. So if nothing else, you have to be consistent. And it's, if the referees are calling the games the same way, that's what leads to probability of wins. There's no way they were supposed to let that play go at the end. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Bears fan, but that made a difference in the game. So you're probably going to hear a couple people start mentioning that. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows I agree with that. And, that should have been a penalty.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy Red mentioned the 2-point conversion to bring up. He said the 2-point version was premature. Now
I disagree.
I'm gonna disagree that it's premature. Right. I think they needed to get up by 7 based on how well Green Bay was moving the ball. But I disagree on the play call. If you was going to go for it, the Bears had not scored a touchdown by throwing not all year, but the last 4 games. So right. I would not have thrown a 2-point conversion because you have not shown that you could throw the ball into the end zone yet. You got down there earlier. You didn't get it in by throwing it. If I would have did anything, I would have ran the 2-point conversion because you was having more success running. Now, if you had threw a touchdown and got it in, then you got momentum because football is about momentum, right? Once you have momentum, right, you get a big play and then you keep the momentum going. But in this case, they had to run it in. So that's the only thing I disagree on that. I mean, even if you had did some kind of delay handoff, I would have felt better just running it versus throwing it in.
Yeah, right. I generally don't say a whole lot of stuff about offense, but I'm looking at the offensive statistics of this game. DeAndre Swift averaged 5 yards a carry. That's good. Caleb Williams ended up averaging almost 8 yards a carry. Roschon Johnson, every time he touched the ball was positive. He averaged 3 yards. DJ Moore even had a good average. And from a throwing standpoint, listen to these stats, right? Adunze, 10 targets, 6 catches, 60%. Okay. DJ Moore, 7 targets, 7 catches. So 100% of targeting DJ Moore. Cole Kmet, 3 targets, 3 catches. Keenan Allen was 50-50. He got 4 catches out of 8 targets. Roschon Johnson even got a target. What that tells me is the offensive coordinator is putting Caleb Williams in an opportunity to complete a pass very quickly. Not only did they get the ball, he get the ball out of his hands in less than 3 seconds, but they were accurate with who they were targeting as well. So from an offensive efficiency standpoint, that looked like an entirely different offense altogether. Green Bay is not just going to, been a turnover and give us a win, but we showed that we had an offensive coordinator who had the ability to target some of the options, some of the issues of what Green Bay couldn't defend. I thought that was really great, and hopefully that's great for us going forward as well.
Okay. Hey, Matt Baker said, hey, what's up, Matt? How you doing? One of my former co-workers. He said, fire everybody. Flus is a joke. Flus is a joke. I don't think this game lets them off a hook anyway whatsoever. Even if they had won the game, I wouldn't let them off the hook on this. But like I said, I do think it showed that there was some disconnect in the offense and also in the passing game because also with Caleb getting the ball out of his hands fast. What was it? I think he completed about 74. What was it? 70? I just hit him. He completed 74.2% of his passes today.
Pretty good.
So nobody can say, hey, he only do that against bad teams. He did it against a pretty decent team today. So that just shows some of it is game plan. And Lavelle mentioned that he thought it was a good game plan today. I thought
Hey,
they
I'm gonna.
run a little
I
bit
gotta
more.
fly. I gotta fly out of here, man.
Gotta
But
fly.
real quick before we go,
Right.
I like the way that they were able to make fast decisions, not hold the ball, execute. You could tell because they threw about 3 screens and they got plus yards for them. You
Man,
know,
right.
today was it was a bittersweet day, but at least we're going in the right direction. I mean, we look like a completely different offense where I don't feel as tight when they run certain plays now. But by the same token, we just got to take this L on our chin and just try to improve on it. And I'm just hoping that we get some momentums and kind of stay close in games and have a chance to win some games like this. But it is what it is. Y'all deuces. I got to go out. Bear down.
Okay.
All right. Take
Hey,
care,
thanks,
brother.
guy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know what we did see Plank in this game. We also we did see that. Hey, look like God and froze. Let me move him.
Okay.
There we go. Right near the end of the game, you did kind of see Braxton Jones show up again, where he just got pushed like he was
Bull
the
rush.
blocking sled into
Yeah.
the quarterback. You got to do better than that.
Right.
Hold on,
You're
guys.
right. The Bears offensive line, again, this is the difference of the offensive coordinator. Sharon, you're right. It was a good plan, and they actually executed a good plan, but he ran the ball. So that gave you the opportunity to get some free yards, kept ahead of the change, made sure everything wasn't on the rookie quarterback or everything wasn't on the offensive line. So he had them moving forward. Quick throws, quick, precise throws. I really like it. As a matter of fact, that last the touchdown that Swift got, oh my goodness, Braxton Jones did some pancaking to a couple guys on that, and I haven't seen that in a while. So I was encouraged by what Thomas Brown's offense looked like. I don't know where that actually takes us from the rest of this year, but at least it looked like we had some kind of fight.
Great points, Plank. I think the struggle today that the Bears are starting to experience, even the last few weeks, and I know we talk about the offense, but I just want to jump over to the defense a little bit, is the Bears are getting gashed in the run game.
Yep.
And guys are just sticking on blocks like they got Velcro, and but the Bears defensive ends, they don't have enough closing speed.
You're right.
It's like they could get pressure sometimes, but it seems like they can't close out sometimes to get that tackle. So we need a little bit more from you, Sweat, because we got to get a little bit more than what we get. And I don't think we had a sack. Maybe 1 or 2 sacks already. I know he's sacks.
It looked like we had 1 sack.
1 sack. Okay.
Yeah, for the whole game. And not just that. To your point, we were gutted in the running game. It looked like Jacobs was getting whatever he wanted. At some point, it looked like he was getting 7-8 yards a carry. And the only thing that stopped it is we stopped. Green Bay started going away from the run, which at that point I appreciated. Okay, Jay Beasley thinks that it was bad coaching. You're not a good enough team to run the clock down. You could have run a couple more plays with the timeout still in your pocket and kicked the field goal. Actually, I agree with that. We were in a position where we were playing with house money. We had the ability to keep running forward or whatever, so we didn't have to settle for that long field goal kick. The closer you get on field goals, the more you change the angle on whether or not you have to drop the ball and somebody can simply put his hand up to block the field goal versus it's more of an arch kick. So the closer you get, the better you can kick on an arch, and it's less of a possibility to block that. So if we're really thinking about that, that is bad coaching. So I don't know if that came from Hightower or Eberflus, but we needed every individual yard in order to change the trajectory of that kick. So Jay's right. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I was working on some of Caleb's stats. Let me kind of pull them up in front. I know you read some of them, but I'm gonna put it out there for the viewers to
Okay.
see. I don't know what we have. It's telling me I got too many things. Okay.
I say I got him up right now if you want him.
Do you? Okay.
He was 23 for 31 for 231 yards, 7.5 average, no TDs, no interceptions, and he had a 95 rating today.
Okay, there we go right there.
And then running, he had 9 carries for 70 yards, an average of 7.8 yards with a long of 16. I think his legs made a big difference, especially early in the game. And that put us in a position where we could at least be ahead of the sticks and keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jay said this game could have had positive propel some momentum moving forward. That's true, Jay, because we saw even in the Washington game when you end up losing a game right at the last minute, even though they was behind in this game, those things makes a difference, right? It breeds confidence in the team. And what they're gonna have to do, I'm gonna say, looking at this game, even though the game was close, the defense gave up too many big plays today.
They did.
I know they got the interception on that play, but that was more so of just a bad throw by Love because the guy was wide open. He just sailed it too high, but they allowed them to move the ball too easily. And even late in the game, I mean, now the Bears have had at least 3 games where a team actually made a big play at the end of a game to get them in scoring range. And what you got to be able to do in those situations is that's when you got to get the 3 and out. You got to get the 3 and out. Yeah.
I'm actually looking at one of the comments by Miguel Tejada, and he said that Eberflus said he felt confident in the field goal range for Cairo Santos, and that's why he didn't fight for extra yardage. That's a horrible coaching decision. You always fight for extra yardage just to make things easier. Is it better to have a 50% chance or a 60% chance to win the game? Obviously, people are going to say the 60%. So every play that you can make that puts your team in a better position to actually come out with that win, as a head coach, you have to take that. So that was a horrible call by Eberflus again. But I agree. We also like what Thomas Brown did, and it kind of did make sense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Dino joining today as well. So Dino Ivory. So he always has some good things to add. So
yeah, Miguel, I do agree on that. That's what I was saying. They looked like they was kind of confused in that play because the offense seemed to not really know if they was going to run a play or not. Then it seemed like the time ticket because even Tom Brady was like, what are they going to do in this play? Are they just letting clock run? But like Plank indicated, you hand the ball off and you increase the percentage of making it, right? Because the farther away you are, you do have to drive the ball. Right. And somewhere when you start getting around 48 yards, Santos is going to get a little bit more shakier, right? And so if you can decrease the yards, you're going to do it. But that's when you kind of, one sense, you're coaching not to lose versus coaching to win, right? Sometimes that's the difference in coaching to win and coaching not to lose.
Yeah, and we're thinking about that, Bernard. When you see coaches that decide to go for it on 4th down and from the own side of the field, you're saying, okay, this coach is clearly committed to win. And then the very next series, he say, okay, let's be conservative. Those two things don't match. If you were going to go for it early, then you basically committed to doing everything that you can to try to get the win. You can't go from, we made it on 4th down to get a new set of downs on our side. Now we got to get conservative. That doesn't make any sense. So either you all in or you're all out. So I think that was a bit of an issue from him, being able to see exactly what the Bears situations is going to be.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to jump back to offensive, man, again.
Okay.
I actually was impressed by the offense today. You know what? Caleb grew up today, and this is what I'm pointing out. He grew up today, and he gained some confidence from his teammates. They had a 4th down play, and he said, let me go for it. Mm-hmm. And that was big boy because it showed his teammates that he could make that play in that moment, right? And so once they got near the end of the game, you do got that confidence starting to build up. He made that play on 4th down that made a difference, right? I think they ended up still kicking a field goal on that particular drive. And but for him to say, hey, no matter how bad things had went the last 3 games, he didn't run away from that moment when they had to go for it on 4th and he got it. And even though he was sacked twice at the end of this game with 3rd and 18 or 19, whatever it was, he didn't run away from that moment. He actually stood strong in the pocket and made both those throws. So, I mean, we got to give Caleb some love today, even though they didn't come out with the victory. You got to give him some love that he actually showed something. And like what Plank talked about, the stats of him having 70 yards on the ground, he tucked it in. And it was some plays where he actually juked some guys and he went that extra hard at trying to get that first versus, sliding short or whatever. He really, to me, gutted it out and saying, hey, I'm doing – if we don't – he kind of, to me, had the attitude, if we don't win today, it won't be nothing that I didn't do.
Right. There's going to be a lot of people talking about, let's go back and let's get rid of Caleb. Not from what I saw today. He's a difference maker. And again, you want your quarterback to have the ball in the 4th quarter with an opportunity to win. That's all a good team can expect. And when that quarterback, as happened today, actually put us in a position to win with a field goal, 90% of the time you're going to end up winning those games. Unfortunately, we have been on that 10% of the time stuff with Eberflus, at least 5-6 games that we should have won in his regimes that we ended up having some historical collapses at the end. Today would actually, I don't know that it would count as a collapse, but we definitely should have been able to pull that out.
Yeah, great point, Plank. I was just trying to look for a couple of comments I saw. Anthony Jackson, the O-line cannot protect. The D-line can't get home. Had 2 hard to overcome this every single week. Great point, Anthony, because that's what I was mentioning earlier, that even in the pass rush, they just don't seem to have that closing speed, right? They can actually create pressure on the edges on defense, but they seem to not be able to close out. Because it was, in reality, if they was able to close, they could have had 4 or 5 more sacks, because there were several plays where they were right there on Jordan Love. But it seems like once they get close, it's like they're walking in quicksand at that point, right? And which allowed Jordan Love to roll out in plays that looked like he should have been sacked. And he was able to come out of that rollout and make a play. But the secondary, there are a couple of things where I thought that they had broken coverage. And, man, we was looking at one play. The Bears make a stop. And I'm like, Stevenson, come on, dude. He almost got a personal foul on a 4th down stop right near the goal line when he is to pushing the guy back and forth. Like, dude, come on, man. Stop that. You didn't got to stop. What are you doing?
He has no emotional situational awareness whatsoever. You got to know when you done made a play. He reminds me of Akeem Hicks. The guy that the Bears would actually stop somebody on 4th and 1, and everybody be like, yeah. Then Akeem Hicks would slap the guy, and you say, a penalty, they get a 1st down. And I'm like, dude, what? What are you doing? So, yeah, we get Stevenson doing a lot of that. There were some lapses on the defensive backfield where, Green Bay had a couple receivers, got behind the defense and completed some really long passes. That's going to give Jordan Love much better numbers. But he actually did not look as good as those numbers might indicate. So that is what it is.
Yeah, one thing I noticed this in the NFL. I don't know what this is with the right tackles. The right tackles on offense, I've been watching this all year, and it happened in this game a few times, where you get these look like false starts by the right tackle, and that they don't call it. Well, these guys are literally jumping out of their stands, backing up before the ball is snapped. And there was a few plays today that I thought Green Bay should have gotten a false start on.
Mhm.
That one catch, I mean, I know the refs ended up staying with what was called on the field. I know it was close, but I think if that play had been called incomplete on the field, I think it would have stayed too, because it was so close in the way it kind of hit the ground. But anyway, as far as defense, you got to be able to get those stops when you need it in a game, because that becomes the difference. And I think after a while, guys start losing confidence as a team. Can we get those stops in those big moments, especially late in the game? You got to be able to get those stops. I mean, now, if you don't get the stop, what you can't give up is a deep throw like that. And that looked like that, if I remember the way that play broke down, that was a play where they actually looked like they was about to get to the quarterback, and he stepped up in the pocket and made that throw. And it looked like, I think that was the one where Jalen Johnson lost his footing on that play.
Yeah. So those plays definitely look bad, and they take a little bit of the air out of us as fans. But the end result of that is we actually ended up making a stop, I believe, on that, and we actually stopped them on a 4th and goal. So that's what got us the ball back and put us in a position to try to come away. Well, actually, that may not be correct. I'm gonna have to look at my notes, but I definitely understand what you're talking about. We had a couple of really long passes that the DBs gave up, especially in a couple of them. You had like 2-on-1 where they still gave up the pass. So they've got to shore that up.
Yeah, and those are, I mean, other than one where Jalen actually stumbled, you had a couple of breakdowns where it actually was communication issues, right? And then you had several with Hicks, where Hicks kind of, I think, didn't know what coverage they were in. Yeah. Because on one play, he just let the guy go, and Jalen ended up coming across the field actually to make the tackle, but Jalen was not on that same side of the field of him. I think his man just happened to come over there, because if he hadn't came across, he would have actually scored on that play. So it looked like they've got a rotation of Hicks and Stevenson coming in and out. But I think
Hicks is a safety and Stevenson's a corner. So
I'm sorry, Hicks is coming in at safety. That's right. He came in. He's coming in at safety. I'm sorry about that.
I was actually laughing at one of your comments that you made. You were like, after Hicks got burned, he tried to act like he was hurt. That's kind of the old school psychological safety. Oh, I'm hurt. That's why I gave up play. You're like, no. Only thing that was hurt was your feelings.
Right.
And make the next play, dude.
Hey, thanks, Jay, for the Founders Day wishes.
Appreciate it.
So, hey, Plank, so did you want to get a grade for offense yet, or you want to dig into some of the other stuff you saw today in offense game? I thought, what I do want to mention is I'm glad Komet got his targets today. Those were some nice plays by Komet. I thought this was the first time this year that they used Gerald Everett correctly.
Yep.
They came in and brought him in on a play where he actually laid a nice block for Swift. I want to say that might have been close to the one that they sprung it. No, the one they sprung it was Braxton Jones, where he laid the block.
Yeah, I wanted to make a couple comments about, again, I think Thomas Brown did a great job as the offensive coordinator, and I'll tell you why. Number one, he knew his personnel. So you didn't have where you had inappropriate personnel based on the down and distance. So when it was 3rd and 2, he made sure he had Roschon Smith in the game. When it's 3rd and 8, he had Swift in there. He also had, one of the things I heard from the Bears this week from some of the reporters is this week is the first time an offensive coordinator had all of the offensive teams, groups together at one time. So how do you have an offensive coordinator not bring the running backs, the receivers, the quarterbacks, and the offensive line all together in order to plan your strategy? The answer to that question is you don't. As a leader, as a manager, one of the things that's necessary is you get your team together and you make sure everybody understands what their role is. if I'm gonna have a technical call at work and people are like, Keith, we need you to do X, Y, Z, I need to be able to know, am I running the entire show? Am I running half the show? Am I working with other people on our team? Am I only talking about 10% of it? You have to set some kind of expectation of what your team is going to do. And, you know, the fact that they had an offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, that never brought all of the groups together, that's almost criminal. I can understand why the offense looked as bad with him with the false starts and the penalties and wide receiver groupings and, you know, personnel groupings. That has a lot to say about, you know, the choice of making Shane Waldron the offense coordinator to begin with. You expect him to be better than that.
Yeah, I don't know how they vetted that process out. To be honest, they didn't do their due diligence. I know I heard on the radio them talking about Shane and some stuff Pete Carroll said, but I've been kind of like looking to try to find stuff all season of stuff that they were saying about him. And I know a lot of stuff we talk about Shane Waldron, we're actually talking about the 2022 season, not the 2023 season, because the 2023 season, the Bears offense actually was ranked ahead of Seattle's offense.
Wow.
I think the Bears might have been ranked 20 in offense or something, and Seattle was ranked 23. But Pete Carroll was saying some of the same things that we was saying about Shane, managing personnel and being creative. And I know on the 2-minute drill on Thursday, me and Guy was talking about some of the problems with the offense was the routes did not match up with the quarterback. You know, with the quarterback steps, right? Because, you know, you were seeing too many plays where prior to this game, especially recently, where Caleb would get to the top of his drop and the guys are still down the field running, and all the routes to me was too long, especially if you're getting a lot of pressure. There's no way you should be running on first down if you pass and 1st and 10 and you run a 15-yard routes like your quarterback got that much time. So it looked like the routes were matched up with Caleb got to the top of his drop. You could see somebody was looking. Now, if he didn't take that throw, he was able to work to the next guy who was actually had broke on his route versus what you was doing before. I mean, we had routes that was like too close to each other. We had routes where he's looking at guys, and, you know, it's easy to sometimes look and say, hey, why don't he take the guy over in the flat? But, you know, if you look at how the route is being read,
right,
and that route taking too long, yeah, of course it looked like he's holding it too long. So today it looked like they fixed the holding the ball issue too long. Now, I'm not going to say it's not going to be another game coming up. They won't hold it too long because defense is going to try to adjust to that. But because they gave them a good heavy doses of running and staying committed to the run when they did run, and they got the ball out of quick, it confused Green Bay. And they showed that, hey, we're going to be able to get these short yardage. But, hey, I thank everybody who's watching on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn today. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to Bears Banner so you can get notification whenever we do one of these shows. Plank, I got my grade for the offense. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm going to give the offense today a B.
Okay.
What you got?
I can see why you would come up with a B for offense. I mean, at this point, they were ahead of the chains most of the time. They gave up 3 sacks, but again, they stayed ahead of the chains. They had low penalties. They had personnel groupings very good. Even though they didn't look like a juggernaut with just 19 points, the offense looked competent. I would agree with you. I'd give the offense a B as well. Good passing game.
Okay, hey, I got some grades for some of the viewers. I know Jay not gonna be able to make it today. He's en route, probably home from the game, or maybe
Jay is angry like Thanos right now, man.
Right. they probably choked out a couple of Green Bay fans or something. Hey, Jay gives the offense a B. He gives the defense a C, and special teams a D, and coaching a F. Man, Jay came hard today.
Jay's usually on the coach's side, so we're gonna have to delve into that a little bit more.
Yeah, Jay, hey, bro, you know, maybe you're having a little anger issues recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding with you, bro.
Man, yeah, look at him. Start a fight in the empty room, man. It's okay.
Hey, for those who are new to the show, Jay is actually one of the co-hosts of Bears Banner. You know, he's a season ticket holder, so usually on home games, he can't make the broadcast. Okay, let's move over to the defense. I know we talked about the defense a little bit, and I guess we talk about a little bit more before we get to the grades. What I'm kind of disappointed today, as far as the defense as well, is Tremaine Edmonds was pretty much invisible today. He made no impact on this game. I don't know what his stats show, but he definitely was having problems to get off of blocks. They did a good job getting the hat on TJ today, but we're gonna need a little bit more from Montez Sweat. I think Plank said he ended up with one sack, but we're gonna need.
He didn't get the sack though. Yeah.
Oh, he didn't get it.
He did not.
Okay.
So Walker got the one sack that the Bears had, and it might have been one of those sacks where it looked like the quarterback was running and was 1 yard short, so they gave him a sack. So it was pretty bad today. However, I'm gonna give the defense a different view of that. I know a lot of times we expect the Bears to be the monsters of the midway and all of that. My position is the Bears ended up holding them under the target average for the National Football League. Target average is 21 points. The Bears held Green Bay under 21 points, which means we should have been in a position to win, which we were in a position at the end of that. And also defensively, the red zone defense is still ranked number 1 in the NFL. And, I saw that stat go up in the middle of the game, right when Green Bay was like on the 10-yard line. I was like, wow. And the Bears actually came out with a stop and the one time. The second time they came out with a field goal. So believe it or not, that's actually good defense or decent defense. So I'm going to give them probably a better grade than we think they should get. But, it's kind of hard to swallow that pill a lot of times.
Okay. Okay. Did you give a grade, Plank, yet, or you just say you're going to give a
the grade that I'm giving the defense today, I'm giving them a B-. I didn't like that we were able to let Jacobs control the ball, and at no point in the game that I feel like we stopped him. It seemed like Green Bay's offensive coordinator or the head coach stopped him more than we did, because every time he got the ball, he was making positive yards, what have you. So I think the defense did a decent job today. They definitely didn't give up as many points as we did with Arizona and all of that. We know what to look for next year. We need some people that can actually stop the run. And in this case, we can't stop the run this entire year. So the loss of Andrew Billingsley was big, but you can't have an entire football team where only one guy can stop the run. That's horrible. So there you go.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry. I want to take one step back. When I look at the time of possession, the Bears possessed the ball 36 minutes, and Green Bay possessed the ball 23 minutes. You would think from watching the game a little bit opposite. So actually, I want to go back. I'm going to put a minus on my grade for the offense. I'm going to make them a B- and still a B, because if you possess the ball 36 minutes and the other team only possessed about 23, you do need to have more than 20 points, because the time possession indicate that you should probably have scored a little more, but still a B, but it's a B-. The Bears defense, I'm gonna give them a C. I do agree that they kept them below the league average, but I'm gonna say, like, in that red zone, I have life for me. I don't know why they just didn't run that ball in, because the Bears, they tried to pass on that last stop the Bears made of them. They kind of stopped themselves, because the Bears had showed no ability to stop them from running the ball at all. So I think they kind of like outsmarted themselves trying to be too fancy on that. But the Bears did do a good job of keeping the ball away from them to not let them possess it as much. But other than some crucial mistakes, like one mistake was not a forced mistake by the Bears. It was just a bad throw by Jordan Love when he overthrew it in the red zone. But hey, you still stopped them. But like I said, I can still give them a C because if offense was clicking better for Green Bay, I just don't see how their defense was going to ever get a stop in that game. And this game had the feel of whoever had the ball last was going to win, which that's really what was going to happen, other than they just got the field goal blocked. It was really like whoever had the ball last going to win because it was like nobody was showing the ability to stop each other in those last 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
Well, there's an old edict that says never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. So if they don't want to run the ball and they're in the red zone and they've been gashing us all game, I'm gonna say great. That's not on me. And even though the Bears defense wasn't able to stop them, the fact that Green Bay stopped running the ball, that gives us a win. So in my mind, that put the Bears defensive core up a little bit because what could have happened isn't what did happen. So that's what I'd grade you on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, man, now let's get to special teams.
Nothing special.
It was nothing special. You actually missed. You got your field goal block. I mean, that's part of that unit. You got to block those guys up, and like Plank, that might have been a call that might have been missed, but still, no, you got to be able to close that game out when your offense puts you in a position to get that game winner. I don't care what you got to do to keep that guy from jumping up. I mean, if you got to punch him in the stomach or something like that or whatever. I don't know. I'm just joking about punching the stomach, but you can't let that guy get right in the middle of the field. It's not like a guy ran off the edge. It wasn't like it was a 52-yard field goal where it's a straight line drive kick,
Right.
So, and you still give up the block. So special teams, I'm trying to think, did they have any good returns?
They did not.
No, they did not.
No punt returns today.
Yeah.
There was only one punt. Green Bay only punted one time. So that kind of lets us know that they were controlling the ball as much as they wanted to. So they got as much as they could eat. So based on that, I think you're right with the defensive score needs to be a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so special teams, I'm gonna give them a C today because they in an important moment they let the team down by not being able to close it out, right? And I know that goes on the head coach too, but still, as a unit, you got to be able to get that victory when your team put you in that position to win the game.
Yeah, from a special teams standpoint, Green Bay had 2 kick returns where they got, average about 25 yards there. They did a decent punt return of 16 yards. But our special teams, the fact that we needed special teams on that last play and we weren't able to come through, the highest grade I'm going to be able to give special teams on that is a C. I know it makes a difference of when you don't come through and everybody's upset or whatever, but Cairo Santos did come through and he actually kicked 2 field goals. So it wasn't like he just sucked the entire game. He didn't come through when we needed him. So that makes us tend to want to give him the lower score. But I think special teams should have got a C. That's about the grade I'd give him on that.
Okay. Hey, Jimmy Red said the kick returner should just take it in the end zone. He hasn't shown us anything. He just secures the ball. Jimmy, I agree with you. The way they moved the ball up this year, if you don't have a clear shot of knowing you're going to get to the 30th, there's no reason to bring the ball out the end zone. You could start on the 30th versus being tackled, now you probably could at least get to the 20th because of how the formation is. But if you're not going to be able to get back to the 30-yard line, just take the knee in the end zone and let your team start with those positive 30 yards, versus set your team back a little bit. But overall, too, Plank, the team looked more disciplined overall as an offensive team. You didn't have that many penalties. I think they might have had what the penalties they had today, I think I talked about it recently, is when you having two men's going in motion at the same time, illegal motion.
Yeah.
You got to clean that up. I think you had about two to three illegal motions, and it seemed like the illegal motions. They got to make sure Roma Dunze understand it, because it seemed like all the illegal motions this year have been on either Rome or it been on
DJ.
Yeah, DJ. Yeah, DJ got called for today. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, special teams, from a special teams perspective, Jan Waste, not Swift, they ended up getting a special teams return of 32 yards.
Okay.
So
that's a good return.
That's decent, and the other one would have been, 20? So, you start looking at the average. It's worth taking a shot as far as I'm concerned, but I would expect at some point, you're going to see around the league some special teamer actually get a good return. It doesn't look like anybody's actually doing a decent return this year. So, don't know what that says about our chances.
Yeah. That special team change was supposed to add more safety to the return, but also encourage more teams to bring the ball, out. And I do think a few times I watched some games this year where I think teams have not really put a lot of thought in that landing zone area. Whereas a few times where I've seen guys actually start returning balls that landed in the landing zone area where they could have probably started on the 40th. I think on the 40-yard line. Depends on where it landed. I know that rule is kind of confusing as it is, but man, who's next, Frank? Who we got next coming up?
Oh man, who do we play next? I don't know. Let me look that up.
Look at that. What's up?
Is it that I thought somebody said Minnesota. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Hey, let's get to the grades for the coaches. Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna give Thomas Brown for what he did and where he brought them from. Offensively, I'm gonna give Thomas Brown an A. And not that he called the A game, but from what it came from, he did an A performance. He did something that that had not been done all year. He went into the booth. Now, some people like being in the booth, some people don't. He went into the booth. And also what you saw more too is more communication to Caleb on the sideline. So I'm assuming that was the quarterback coach who was, since he was in the booth, the quarterback coach was talking to Caleb. He's showing him stuff on the sideline. That's what you're supposed to do with your rookie quarterback. I seemed like guys, there was better rotation to use of personnel. It seemed like they understood the situation of the game. They understood the game flow. So offensively, I get an offensive coach at A. Defensively, I wish Flus would just turn over these plays to Eric Washington and manage the whole game. I mean, at this point, you got to at least have confidence that he could call plays. I'm going to get an offense to be the defense coaching. You know what? The coaching wasn't bad defensively. They just made some lapses themselves as far as the players. So I'm going to give the coaching on defense a little better grade than I actually gave the defense themselves. I'm going to get a coaching on defense about a B, because they put them all in the right positions, but you got to make those plays when you're there, and you can't miss those blocks, and you can't be getting blown out of a hole and not being able to get all blocks. That's all on the players on that part. Special teams, I'm going to give the coaching same grade as I gave C. Eberflus as a head coach, he managed the game a whole lot better than he had been managing it.
He did.
He did call timeouts, but, at the end of the day, you still lost the game as a head coach. I'll give him a C.
That was actually the first game in quite a bit of time that we even looked like we were competitive against Green Bay. So, there are no moral victories in football. So we look better, but if I look better, but I still end up with an L, it really doesn't matter. So I can't start, throwing out high scores for the head coach or the coaching staff in general. I think Eberflus did a more competent job today. I think he did really good with clock management, but at the end of the day, we still came away with an L. There's going to be some people that say he didn't lose the locker room and they came out. competitive and all of that. Competitive is great, but they pay you to win the game. They don't pay you to show up and get close. If that's the case, give me $500,000. I won't miss a tackle for the rest of the year.
Hey,
I might look like Mike Tyson in his fight, but hey, give you all I got. So there you go.
Next week game is against the Vikings at Soldier Field
At noon, yeah.
At noon. Pike, I agree with you. The objective is to win the game. It is not the objective to look good or say he held the team together when they had some adversity. Because at the Wild, adversity is being created because of your inability to coach in regular situations, right?
There you go.
I mean, I give it to them the year when they was trying to lose, and you say, okay, you can hold together this team when we actually kind of tanking. That's different. But once we put together better teams, and it shows still, Eberflus did not vet out these OCs because Thomas Brown actually interviewed for the OC job.
He did.
He did not get the job. You gave it to Shane Waldron, and now it looks like, I mean, I don't know how next week game is going to be called because there's going to be a lot of pressure next week because the Vikings like to bring pressure. The Vikings going to bring a lot of pressure, so it's going to be a test on how fast and what Thomas Brown does offensively to try to get the offense moving the ball. But like I said, it was a positive direction because they finally got touchdowns today and they moved the ball, controlled the ball. But, you got to get a few more points than that. But
well, in my opinion, from a coaching staff perspective, Eberflus gets exactly what he expects to get. What he's expected to get from the coaches that he picked. He's in the 3 years that he's been here, he's fired 8 coaches. In those 8 coaches, 7 of those coaches have been on the offensive side of the ball. The only defensive coach he fired was Williams, the one that had the issue where he had to help his family or whatever. We ain't never gonna know what exactly went on there. But it's interesting how comfortable he is with saying that the problems are on the other side of the ball. And defensively, he thinks everything's set. Yet we're coming up at the end of these games and we still losing games and things of that nature. Eberflus is not judged on how well the defense plays. And that's kind of the misnomer that he's walking around with, defense did good. That doesn't matter. You are no longer the defensive coordinator. You are the head coach. And your grades are how well the team's record is. Mm-hmm. At this point, the team's record is below 500. I think we've never beat a team that had an above 500 score. Mm-hmm. That tells you something right there. Today would have been our first opportunity to beat a team that had a positive record, and we didn't do that. So Eberflus, he still gets a D. Even in a game that he looked like they were competent and he made the right choices. And he even maybe he did go out and play Manning a little, the Madden game and do some clock management or whatever, because he looked a whole lot more competent with that. He even made the right calls with the challenges. I didn't think he would necessarily win those challenges, but you can see by that time in the game, that's why he had to make those calls. So he did a lot of things right, and the end result was we still come away with an L. So as a coach, your team lost, you a loser coach.
Because agree, playing because when you lose a game by 1 point, the doubt always going to be that 2-point conversion, right? That's going to be the doubt because people going to harp on that point and say, well, if they had got the extra point, it would at least be tied, right? So you do get that doubt, right? That now I understand the situation of why you do go for it, but that is one of the things that people are going to point to it because the thing is, when you can't prove you can win these games, close games, then people are always going to doubt any decision that you make that you end up being on the losing side of whatever decision that is. So I do think going into this game with Minnesota, I'm hoping that we could carry the positive momentum that we saw from Caleb in the receiving core. They actually, to me, got open. They looked like they was running hard. They looked like they was breaking on the ball hard. I mean, DJ really gutted it out. I mean, I think by the time we get to the end of the season, we may find out DJ might have had
an ankle problem or something.
Yes, yeah. Because it's like every game, there's always he's limping off the field and something. And I give him credit because he's fighting through it. And even a couple plays did today, he actually ran like a madman through those
He
plays.
did.
Yeah,
he did.
Mm-hmm. And then this is like a play or two we might have missed on offense, but that's a matter of having a little bit more chemistry with the receiver, like they played it wrong where he got one hand on it. That's a play maybe, at the Wild, you start getting some field, and he's going to hit that on wrong. But I'm glad they ran that play because that was one of the plays I've been talking about that you need to just throw that ball up sometime and just let that guy on the sideline run under that ball,
I agree. A lot of people have made some comments about that failed two-point conversion, but I actually think that was the right call at the time because let's think about it. If we made, at that point, we were up by 1 point. We went for the two-point conversion. If we make it, we're up by a field goal. So that means at the end of the game, the other team would have had to at least kick a field goal in order to score on us. It made sense mathematically, even though we didn't make it. So that still put us in a positive opportunity to win. So we can nitpick a little bit, but I think that was still the right decision at the time.
Yeah. I actually think, if I remember correctly, I think it was a difference of us being up by 5 versus 7, right? And so you would, because that's the concern. Right. That's the concern in that play. That's why I do think you probably had to go for it because what you was allowing at that point was if a team got a touchdown, then you're down.
Yep.
By 2. But if you got a 2-point conversion, the game is at least tied unless they go for 2, right?
Right.
But I just comment on throwing it in because you had not thrown the ball into the end zone in at least almost 4 games. So that was kind of a little bit more challenge because you didn't actually throw a touchdown today. As good as you moved the ball today in the passing game, you didn't throw anything in the end zone. So, but when you lose a game, I mean, people nitpick, right? That's what we do, right? As fans, we nitpick, right? We tear down everything we see because, hey, overall, we tired of getting beat by Green Bay.
You're right. We didn't throw a touchdown, but we did run for 2. So if you think about, changing your offensive scheme to run the ball more, to get the ball out of your rookie quarterback's hand, that's actually the best opportunity we had to win. I'm sad that we didn't win. These losses end up taking a lot out your soul, man. I mean, I'm going to be in a bad mood for the rest of the week. So there you go.
Yeah, every time you say that, take it so it reminds me of Doctor Strange when Green Bay beat us. It's like you get hit, like you said, that soul.
That's Pat Mills.
That Green Bay definitely got us in a sunken place, right? Like, my God,
they do.
Yeah. So, you know what? We just need to keep improving. Then we got to look at this game coming up this week, and then Thursday we'll have the 2-minute drill where we break down the quarterback performance. Hey, so Plankers, we're ready to close out. Did you anything you wanted to share before we close out for the day?
Yeah, I'm looking at the score. We got 2 games over the next 9 days or so. We got Minnesota on the 24th. Then we got on Thanksgiving, we got the Bears and Lions. So whatever funk we in, you need to sit back, recalibrate. If you can get you 2 wins, that put you back to 500s and you're right back in it. So a lot of times people have that negative attitude. And whether you think you're going to win or you think you're going to lose, you're right at both of those. So I'm going to go ahead and put all my energy behind positive thoughts. So there you go.
Yeah, I agree with that plan because I don't know, did the Vikings play today or not? I didn't. Or did they play?
The Vikings. Let me see. I don't.
So anyway, my point I was gonna make was
they played the Titans on. They beat the Titans 23-13.
Okay, so you should be able to make some plays on Sam Darnold. I mean, all the early season stuff is starting to. He's starting to be Sam Darnold that we know. So, the Bears put together a real good game plan to to stop him. They should be able to get a few gifts from him. I mean, maybe he
wants to throw us the ball.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he gonna give some to us. So our game plan will have to be just to run the ball well, and also to make sure we're not taking a lot of sacks.
Oh my goodness, Green! Detroit got a 52 burger.
Oh yeah,
jeez.
That game was over at the first. I think that game was pretty much over at the end of the first quarter.
I would say, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, until next time. Hold on, we got one more comment. Let me see if it's something. Okay, you laughed about Sam Darnold.
Same guy.
Same guy. Hey, reality
guy. I'm open.
Right. Hey, thank everybody. We appreciate everybody who tuned in to Bears Banter Talk Show as we continue to our 5th season of doing this. And until next time, peace.
Peace.